Hello, everybody. All right, we will give the Facebook Live a second to catch up. Okay. And I do apologize. We are a few hours late, not just a couple minutes late. We are a few hours late. And the reason for that is because I am going through some self-development that started at 7 a.m. my time. So I've been up and at it super early today. And so my first shout out is to the group that I was hanging out with since 7 a.m. And I had to take a bit of a lunch break there. So the shout out is to Pineapple Financials. If you don't know who they are the fastest growing mortgage brokerage firm across Canada right now. So I've recently joined them as a mortgage agent. I don't advertise that too much or too often because being a mortgage agent is just a small portion, a small stream of what I do on my day to day. So we're going through a 1 week intensive self development with the team in Ontario, and it's basically about building our business, growing our clientele, building better relationships. And so that's where I was this morning. And so I just could not rearrange it and get away. So a big shout out to the Pineapple family. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be going through the training course and, just doing a lot of self-development there. So and that is one of the things. So I was a mortgage agent in Ontario as well when I was living in Ontario. Now that I'm living in BC, I can't operate in Ontario while I'm here. So that was one of the biggest things that I've noticed between joining Pineapple and working at my old mortgage company was the level of training and the amount of training that is available through Pineapple. Just blows it out of the water. So I'm super happy to have joined the Pineapple family. So that is the big shout out. So welcome everybody. We are on another session of Money Matters. It is Monday, October the 28th. So it is almost the end of October. Halloween is coming up. So I hope everybody is safe on Halloween night because it can be a little bit exciting. Okay, so today we are going to go into a calculation around buying in bulk. And this is actually a bit of a funny thing because I'm like, how is this even related to real estate? And then I realized, oh yeah, this is totally related to real estate because it takes into the account the time value of money. So we'll get into that calculation. So now before I do, I just want to make sure that before you implement anything that I share with you today, please go and check with somebody else. This is my opinion. This is stuff that I've learned and has been relevant to my journey. And maybe your journey is going to be a little bit different. Okay. So before you implement anything that I share today, please go and double check. If you want to hop onto a Zoom call with me and vet this out a little bit more, I'm happy to do so. My QR code is up here. You just have to scan it and you'll get on my calendar. Okay, so that is that. The outcome of these sessions, if you look at some of my past recordings, my live sessions, they talk about real estate focused money issues, how to analyze where am I currently, focusing my attention on. So really the outcomes of these calls is to help accredited investors, help people who are trying to get into real estate make good, sound decisions with their money. So today's topic is going to be exactly that. We're going to get right into it then. So let me put away these cards. So the topic today is about buying in bulk. And this came about because I used to love shopping at Costco. I used to, go to, let's say, wherever, Walmart or No Frills or wherever. And if something was on sale, I would buy it in bulk. And, it got to the point where we had about 5 different bags of rice, okay, in the house. We had like 160 croissants from Costco. And it got to the point where my aunt was like, Hung, you might have a problem with your shopping because you're buying in bulk and, there's only 4 people in the house, right? Okay, now, so I'm sharing some of this because it's very relevant to how we all live. And buying from Costco, you're saving money and, it's stuff that you're going to use. Like I'm always going to be eating croissants, right? So why wouldn't I buy it in bulk, right? And we're Asian and we're always going to be eating rice. So why wouldn't I buy that in bulk when it's on sale? So this is a few things to consider here. So the reason why this is coming up is because in the last couple of months, I've been approached for coaching programs, whether it's real estate or stock investing or whatever. And the idea is, hey, Hong, join the program now. Sign up for this coaching program now. It's discounted. And if you wait 2 weeks from now, if you wait until our next session, the value is going to go up. The price point is going to go up, by $2,000 or $5,000 or whatever the amount is, right? And so I get it. It's a sales tactic. It's the take action now type of situation. And usually I'm not bothered by that because I will pretty much buy anything if it makes sense, right? So I will sign up for any coaching package, especially if it's related to real estate, I will absolutely consider buying it. Like, even if it's in a group that I already know a lot of stuff about. Like 2 years ago, I joined a multifamily real estate coaching program, and I have 100 doors. Like, why do I need to join a multifamily real estate coaching program? Right? Like 25 years in already. Right? But I still join it because there's always something new that I can learn or something that I can get reminded of that I've forgotten. And so it's always like, I believe in paying for coaching, paying to learn from somebody else, especially if they can teach it in a different way than what I've learned it in. So in the last couple of months, I've been approached by, some stock buying platforms to sign up for their course. And if I buy now, I'm going to save, $2,000, $5,000. And so I took a step back and I'm like, oh, does it make sense to buy in bulk? Does it make sense to buy now so that I can save money from the future? Okay. And as I was going through this exercise of trying to explain buying in bulk, I was like, wait a minute, this is just the time value of money. And I owe this learning of time, the time value of money, to my co-author. So I'm going to share with you guys a book I have. So this is my Mortgage Freedom book, and I wrote it with a fellow investor named Eugene, and he really honed it in on me on the time value of money. Prior to writing this book and working with Eugene, I sort of understood time value of money, but I never actually understood it until Eugene sat down with me and pointed things out to me as to why the time value of money was so important. So thank you, Eugene. So let's go through that in terms of looking at buying stuff in bulk, buying stuff now at a discount instead of paying for full price in the future, and why that's relevant to real estate. Okay, so let me share with you the Excel sheet. Okay, so here you go. So you should see the Excel sheet. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, and there's not much to this sheet. It's just a couple of lines that I put down because I'm like, okay, how do I explain buying something now in a discount to save for something from the future, right? And it's really the time value of money. So what I've done here is I've just put the number of years, and I've put in this example 1 year. I've put in the interest rate, which is 5%, and that's per year. Okay, and this is important because if it's an interest rate per month, that's completely different than an interest rate per year. And so a funny story here. I was talking to my kid about an illegal interest rate, and I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, that there is actually such a thing as an illegal interest rate. And I was telling my kid about this, and now he's like 100% on this concept, right? Which is amazing. So now when I talk to him about deals, he'll be like, Mom, I want this deal and I want 59% interest. And this is an 11-year-old kid telling me he wants 59% interest on something. And I'm like, I know why you're doing that. Okay. Because anything that is 60% or more is considered illegal. Okay. So anything, okay, whether it's interest on a house, interest on a car loan, interest on your credit cards, anything that is 60% or more per year in interest, okay, the effective interest rate is, if it's 60% or more, that's considered illegal. Okay. So believe it or not, there have been deals that I've seen where they've gone up to 40%, which is absolutely ridiculous as well, or even 25%, absolutely ridiculous. And yet we see credit cards with 20, 22, 23% interest rate. Okay. So just a complete side story on that one with my kid and the interest rates. Okay, so this is 5% per year. Okay, so now the present value, so that's the value today. Okay, and in this example, I'm using 10,000. So based on the calculation, and this is a calculation in Excel. Okay, so I will, let's see if I break this up. Oh yeah, see, it doesn't really make the formula bigger. So the formula is FV, which means future value, and then you just use the parameters to calculate what your future value is going to be. Okay, so just follow the Excel formula that's in there. So if I start with something, if I buy it today at 10%, sorry, at 10,000, at the end of the 1 year on a 5% interest, that future value is actually $10,511.62. Okay, so that means that if I buy something today and I put it off and I have to pay down the road and I have to pay 5% on that, I'm not just paying 10,000 anymore. I'm actually paying $10,511. Okay, so I was approached by a coaching program and they said, hey, Hung, you know what? If you buy today, it's 7,500. If you wait 2 weeks from today to buy, it's going to go up to 10,000. Okay. And it was like, wow, like that is real pressure to make a decision today. Right. And the idea was that if I buy it today, I get the discount. I would save 2,500, which is a decent amount of money to save on a purchase. And the idea is that I would actually make 7,500 back in a fairly short amount of time, right? Potentially 2 to 3 months would be the turnaround time to make this money back once I learned the process. Once I've gone through the platform and actually understood how to execute, then the time frame to get that back would be about 2 to 3 months, right? So really, it would have taken me about 6 months to get the 7,500 back. And then after that, I would just be making infinite return at that point. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you with this is that, okay, if I had bought this coaching package, okay, and if it was worth 10,000, okay, so I'm not going to pay 10,000 now because I'm getting a discount, it would cost me 7,500 now. But really what it would cost me though is a little bit more than that, because I would be buying it with my credit card. Okay, so it would take me about 6 months to make this money back. So I would have to pay interest on my credit card for half the year. So half the year, so 0.5 half the year. And my credit card bill or my interest is, let's say 22. So I probably wouldn't put it on my credit card. I would probably take it out of my line of credit or some other lower interest bearing leverage account that I have. So I would probably take it from my HELOC. So it would be 8% for the year, and it would be interest only payments. Okay, so regardless of how that's done. So what this is telling me is that in 6 months, this 7,500 that I would have borrowed from my HELOC, I would actually have to pay that back plus $305. So which is just the difference of these two things. So I'd have to actually pay my HELOC back $7,805 for borrowing 7,500. So, the $300 difference. So in this case, it would make sense to borrow the funds, do the program, assuming that everything works according to plan, because I would be saving 2,500 and it really would only cost me $300, right? So that would make sense. So this is the concept of the time value of money, right? So even though today it's only costing me 7,500, really at the end of the day, it's going to cost me 7,800. Okay. So now let's just say that I buy this now at 7,500. It's really 10,000, but it would have taken me, let's just say, 2 years to get this money back. Okay. So in 2 years, this 7,500 is actually closer to 9,000. Okay. So that means if I don't recognize that profit, like they were saying that, okay, in 3 months or in 6 months, by the time 6 months starts, I would be able to recognize all of my cash back. If that did not happen, I would be out of pocket another, 1,400. Okay. And I would have about 2 years time frame to achieve that. Okay. So if I went to let's see here, 3.5 years. Oh, no, it's actually maybe closer to 4. Okay, so between 3.5 to 4 years, I would have to be able to recoup that money within 3.5.4 years to make it worthwhile, because that money is actually worth the 7,500 that I paid today is actually going to be worth 10,000 in about 3.5 to 4 years. Okay, so this is very, very relevant to real estate. Because if you're thinking about buying a property today and it's, let's just say $1 million. Okay, so I'm going to change this to $1 million. 1, 2, 3. Okay, is that $1 million? Okay, so you're buying that today. It's $1 million. Okay, and we're going to hold this property for, I don't know, 10 years, let's say. Okay, so in 10 years, the amount that you would have had to pay for this property, if you had to borrow the whole 1 million, is actually $2,219,000. Like, that's how much this 1 million is actually going to cost you. Okay, so that means that you're going to go and you're going to borrow $1 million and you're going to pay 8% on that every single year. Okay, so that future value is $2 million. Okay, and the interesting thing is that sometimes we'll buy a property and we're like, okay, we're going to buy a property. It's got X amount of units in it. And we know that we can increase rents. We know that we can add in extra units. We know that we can do this, whatever this is, to increase the value. So like some sort of forced appreciation, right? That's what a lot of us are looking for in real estate right now, is the forced appreciation. So if we can force the appreciation, fantastic. And if we can do that within 1 to 2 years, fantastic. But if it takes us close to this 10 years to do it, it's going to cost us $1.2 million just to do that. Okay. So if you buy a place right now for $1 million and it's negative cash flowing, let's just say negative cash flowing $200 per month. Let's see, did that, let's see. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, per month. So if it's negative cash flowing $200 per month, what that means is it's $200 times 12. Okay, so this is now per year. Let's see here, per year. Okay, so that means you have to generate enough profits to cover this negative cash flow as quickly as possible. So now your present value right now is $1 million. But if you're in negative cash flow per year for, 2,400 per year, you have to make sure that your forced appreciation is there enough to make sure that you're able to recover this 2,400 as quickly as possible. Because if you're not able to do that and you carry this present value through for 10 years, okay, it's going to be worth 2.2. So you definitely don't want to do that. So let's just say you carry this property for 1 year. Okay. And it's going to take you 1 year to stabilize your property. Okay. It's going to cost you $82,000 in debt. Okay. So your $1 million is now, you have to pay the bank $1,082. Your negative cash flow, 2,200. So this 2,400 is not a big number in the whole scheme of things here that we're talking about. That gets added on to this to $83,000. So now you're actually in the hole $85,000. Okay. So the sooner that you can recoup whatever this negative is and turn it around and get yourself out of this 8% to get it lower and pay off this $1 million, that's where you want to be. Okay. So the sooner that you can get this 2,400 into the positive, that will chip away at this, your present value, because now you can start paying down the principal. Okay. So tying this back into, does it make sense to buy in bulk? Does it make sense to pay for a program now wherein it's discounted only to save X amount of money down the road because you're not going to have to pay for it? Well, it depends on a couple of things. It depends on where are you able to borrow that money so that it doesn't cost you a lot of interest. Okay. The second factor is how long is it going to take you to recoup the money that you've had to borrow? Okay. If it's going to take you 1 or 2 years and you can generate enough profits to cover that cost within a shorter period of time, then yeah, probably it makes sense. Okay. But if it's going to take you a longer period of time and you're going to be in negative cash flow and it's going to take you a longer period of time to recoup that difference, then it doesn't make sense. Okay. So when it comes to, buying in bulk, okay, the question is then, how long is it going to take you to go through those items, like the 5 bags of rice, okay, the 160 odd croissants, okay? How long is it going to take me to go through all that in comparison to me just not worrying about buying it in bulk and just doing it in smaller chunks? Okay, so many of you may know that I actually lived out of my RV for 2 years, okay, and this was during COVID. And this was a very interesting stage of my life because we were traveling across Canada, living in an RV. There is no space for anything, right? You have to be very strategic about the bulk stuff that you buy, right? And so for me, stopping to buy in bulk is easy because we had to do it for 2 years. Okay. So this is an idea that is really relevant to real estate because whatever forced appreciation you're going to do on your property, you want to make sure that you have space for it. You have the capacity to turn it around so that that forced appreciation is recognized as quickly as possible. Okay, that is all I have to say about the time value of money and relating it to buying things in bulk. Okay. And I hope you see the connection there. I hope it's not just in my mind that connection makes sense. Okay. So that is it for today. My apologies for those of you who are waiting for me to come on live at 10:30 every Monday. I will do that next Monday because I won't have the self-development training course. So I will see everybody next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have an awesome day, everybody.